Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Yesterday doesn't matter, it only serves as a ladder. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so make your plans accordingly. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Grand Rising. Today is a new day to start again. It is 9/28/2025. I took a break from doing these videos and I was struggling with hitting my bell, and I haven't practiced at all, but I've suddenly improved. I like that. Well, here we go, 2 days in a row. Nothing outsells enthusiasm. That's what you're taught in sales. That was one of the first things I was taught. And it's really true. If you're excited about a product, if you're truly excited, if you build yourself up into being excited about a product, it makes a huge difference on whether you sell it or not. And a lot of that comes from energy and effort. It's a lot of E's. They call it the 3 E's: excitement, energy, and enthusiasm. Excitement, energy, and enthusiasm. It's a hard word to say. Creating a buying atmosphere and effort is infectious. I'm going to try to stay on my script here. One person can change a culture, right? We've seen that happen. Why? How does that happen? And you see it almost in every type of category. So I'm still not drinking coffee. I've been coffeeless for, I don't even remember how long now. That was every once in a while, and I don't do it like on a yearly basis, but when I feel like I need to do something, I take away something that I have overindulged with, and coffee was a big one. So it wasn't really about anything other than that. I was like, I drink way too much coffee, so maybe I should just stop drinking coffee. And I think what that does for me is it gives me a lot of confidence and helps me keep moving forward. So let's go back to not trying to equate what I'm doing with changing a culture. So it's not that, what I would say is when this kinds of things happen, currently we have it going on, just to give an example in real time. Indiana University is where I went to school and college, and it is also, we have a football team. We're kind of a basketball state, but our football team for the university is very good, and it hasn't been good ever, except for a couple of little times. And there's a coach that came in that is known for turning over programs. And what I always really do enjoy, as I've gotten older now, I'm always wary of idolizing anything, but I do enjoy watching whenever you see something where there's a lot of build up to it, and then whatever, it's usually based on a person, they fulfill and over fulfill what seemed like overhype. And I love those kinds of things when I see that happen. It's like a bell. It's like, wow, look at that. That's how things can work. Why does something like that work? A lot of times there's a lot of factors that align. But if every time you look up when you're working with somebody, what I would say is the reason why it happens is because it's what that person does. It's not what they say. Some of it is what they say, but when they say it's doing something, it's what they do. They're always on. They're very passionate generally about whatever it is that has got them so directed. But their discipline generally is what is so infectious to other people. I don't like usually using sports because I think we glorify it way too much. But there are a lot of good things that you can see in sports, and one of them is just the work ethic generally of the major stars. They didn't get there without, and they continue to. That's why they continue to be stars, is because they continue the same basic work ethic. And what I would say is that is usually because they are fixated on a cause that makes sense to them. To draw back to my videos from yesterday, your 5 senses, or as we discussed yesterday, There's much more than five senses. But anyways, if the way it works and why it's so infectious is it's in the daily life. It's the grassroots idea of when you see somebody else working that hard and that they're not hypocritical in what they're doing because they're so genuine in how they're approaching it. They create a buzz, they light a spark, they make a bang for my dramatic effect. This one is different than the others, and you can see it. They weren't trying to lead, they just led because they are called with a purpose. They are fully invested. Why can't the whole world do this if it works so well? What does can't mean when I cannot? So now I get poetic and it gets a little weird, so I don't even know. So try to follow me. I'm just going to try to stay to the script instead of getting into conjecture because I think I tie it up at the end. So let's dive in. So what does can't mean? Cannot. Can. To be able. I looked up what can is. To be able. And I always come back to this Cain and Abel, and I'm telling you, I don't know, I'm sure phonically it's not correct, but there's something seems to be there. So can is to be able. I think that's strange. So cannot is to be Cain, if you were going to say Cain and Abel. That's really weird and backwards. I think that's why it's so confusing. So let's just go back to Cain killed Abel. So now I break it down. Cain is can do. Okay to do. It's okay to do things. I can do them. Abel is dead. Abel died. Cain killed Abel. So it's not okay to do your abilities, these abilities. So I think there's just a lot of significance to the importance of Cain and Abel. And I don't know if there's any kind of correlation with Cain and Can. Probably not. But for me, it resonated. So some think that one other thing about Cain and Abel is some think that they were twins and that the story is just a symbolic story that's been changed or not changed maybe. Who knows? Maybe who knows? I don't want to get into that, where the stories come from, which one was first, which one was second. I don't even think time matters. And I think that's part of what happens with the Bible is they put it into chronological order. But stay with me. So a person that does everything the right way, and I think right is significant with writing and right. So a person that does everything the right way can do anything. A person that cannot, the wrong way is dead. It's functional versus non-functional. Does it work or not? So in my Buddhist ideas, and I don't even think it comes from Buddhism or the Tao ideas, I really just don't think that there is. I've heard somebody say, to wrap this up, that good and evil is functional versus non-functional. And if you're trying to look at it in more of a logical way, I guess, does it work or does it not work would be what we think of as good and evil. And that just depends on your perception, but I think that's a good gauge. So in the flow or against the game, in the flow, let's try my rock. Some of this stuff works, I think. In the flow or against the grain. One person can change an entire culture with the way they live. They become a mirror of Cain by reflecting their abilities. But there's a problem here. That's what I'm going to get into. I'm tying this together. So you've got, they became a mirror of Cain by reflecting Abel. So while they're working in unison together, the twins, they work well. So Cain is more ego. That's the one that is concerned about what God sees. It is the light. We're following God. We're following Father. We care very much about what Father thinks. They are looking to reveal to God. They are about controlling things so that God is happy. They are very attuned to the Father. That's the Cains. That's the Can people. Abel is the abilities. The thing about the abilities, though, is it's what's done in the dark. It's what people don't know that you can do. It is deceiving. It is chaos. It is mother. It is your, what we would call God-given gifts. But I don't think it is God-given gifts. I think it's mother-given gifts. We have both. Anyways, what I'm saying is it's the stuff that you got inside of you that nobody sees. And some of it's dark. It's what's revealed to everyone, God, Father, which comes to the light, that is what you're judged on. So Abel, in the story, wasn't concerned about what Father thought, really. That's what Father loved so much about Abel, according to what I've understood about the story, was that he was doing it out of the goodness of his heart. He was doing everything that he was doing was just because that was what he was supposed to. He wasn't trying to brown nose. He was just doing what he thought was the right thing to do because Father told us what to do. It's revealed in the light. Cain was trying to do that. Abel was just doing it. And Cain didn't like that it was revealed that he wasn't doing it. So that's why he killed Abel. So, and it was probably prudent. Because eventually, Cain probably would have got killed by what Abel did. Because he was doing it genuinely. And that's just the way it works if you have jealousy in your heart. So, this is how I've tried to tie it together. So to continue like Abel, that's what the trick is to continue like Abel without allowing Cain to kill you. Because that's what all the stories come back to. All of the great saints were killed or crucified or beheaded or fed to lions in our history. But that's our history. I don't know that that's true. And I think that actually I've thought about it a lot. There are other, like no one even knows what happened to Lao Tzu that didn't end up in, and there's other like major spiritual voices that have been left to us that weren't left in beheadings. But it is interesting, though, that we have all these stories of these people that were killed by the person, that were written by the people that killed them, really, is kind of how it works out. The saints should stay quiet. That's usually what is found in most of these, really, because of what I've been saying, is that if you are righteous and it's shown you're to be righteous, the ones that are not around you will throw stones if one throws a stone and they see that they can group up. And that's that's probably why the elite stay, if they are actually really righteous. That is a flip of what it could be, but I really don't see it. I see it, everything in our structure is being very nefarious, and I think it comes down to our language, which is why I kind of go through all this stuff. But let me stay on my script. I think that your survival instinct is one of your most important things in everyone, or at least in me, if I'm going to try to be logical about it. So why would it matter to you so much what happens after we die? Like, why do we care so much to keep living? Because we want to do whatever we want to do. But is it supposed to be that we have a game in front of us? Like, should we try to live forever? Is that what, and people have done that, looking for the Fountain of Youth and all these different things. And there's all these weird stories about what the elite do with I don't want to stay stuffed. I'm trying to get my videos out there instead of trying to marginalize myself so much. The game of life is to use your time to learn how to live forever. I don't identify with that. But I think that there are people, and it seems logically that that would be a goal. You have like a you have like an hourglass, and you're like, all right, that's how much time you get to figure out how to turn that hourglass over again. Turn one wish into unlimited wishes. You get 3 wishes, and you're like, well, I want unlimited wishes for my first wish. You can't do that. It just doesn't make sense. With great power comes great responsibility. So if you were to be able to do that, this is what I talk about with awareness. The more aware you've become of how difficult the world is out there, the more that becomes your problem. And whenever you see a problem that doesn't identify with what you think is right in the world, you feel compelled to fix it. But how are you supposed to fix it from your little spot that you're in when you still have to pay a car payment and you don't have enough money? Which I've been there in many. I don't have a car payment now, which is like the nicest thing ever. Anyways, I want to be responsible for as little as possible so that I can live righteously. Let me try and bring this back to home. Home is really important to me, and I recently wrote a poem, and it's centered on home, but I didn't really identify in the poem what my identity of home was, and I don't think it came out in the language of my poetry. So I need to be careful now, because I think a lot of my stuff I've been writing might be, I don't want to say it's over the head, it's just older use of words, and it's not translating to the general because there's more meaning in the older use in my intent, but it's not that way in the definition in our current language-based programming. So it's not resonating. I can is what I'm allowed to do. My abilities, until I know it's a stretch, Cain killed Abel, until it's seen that I'm doing it in a way that is not going to be tolerated by somebody that is trying to live up to Father's standards. And they feel like they have it. Sometimes people think that they know when there's more than one together. So you are able until you cannot. I think I tied it together. Okay, I think that's enough. 2 videos in a row. Here we go. The little train that could. I would say I identify more with Abel in the story of Cain and Abel. And eventually, by being Abel, I really don't know. And then we get into the knowing from yesterday. Did I say that I was drinking tea? I think I was talking about how I quit coffee. I don't even remember now. So I really don't know any of this. And then we get back to the knowing, which is what I talked about in the last video yesterday. Knowing is kind of a current thing. So if any of that last gibberish makes any sense, also from the last video, that's also what common sense is, now that I think about it. If it don't make dollars, Cain, then it don't make sense, Abel. So now I get into some writings here, because I did start to connect this together. So I don't mean this in a lot. This is more poetic. So dollars, money, is Cain. It's good. It's light. It's red. It's sun. It's rules. It's man. That's what dollars and Cain is. It's can. That's the stuff we can do. And then the sense is what you get left when you use $1. You get some change back. That's your senses. Anyways, senses is your abilities. It's more blue. It's more moon. It's more dark. It can be seen as evil. It is feminine. It's very strange how that ties like that, because I don't think that that's true. Women are not, It's not good and evil. That good and evil thing gets thrown in there, and I don't think that that actually is true. That's part of the programming. Evil Eve. I think I'm using my confirmation bias to reveal that our language flips spiritual reality. Because mother truly is the most important part of humanity. Because we are mother based, if you believe in the chicken and the egg. But I think our language inverts it purposely. But I don't think, like, in essence, man did it. But I don't know what man really is. It's the mask. It's the white man is the mask, it seems like. Something to do, I'm going to connect this off script here. Something to do with white man and Latin for some reason to me, and Rome. There's something there. Like that's the line that was used. We were whitewashed. So I have no idea how to like break that. Make a bang, light a spark, create a buzz. I'm starting at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, you got to look at yourself and make that change. I tried to pull off Michael Jackson. That was cold. Woo! Get a little sip. Tea. I don't drink coffee. There's this saying I keep hearing them say. Bees don't waste time telling flies why honey tastes better than shit. I think that's what it is. I'm going to try that again. Bees don't waste their time trying to explain to flies why honey tastes better than shit. I like that. So, unless you don't want any change back from your dollar, I'm dead serious on this. I think that every time we spend a dollar, every time we use a dollar, every time there's intent with the dollar, we are consent. We are consent. That's our consent. So I say keep the change. Flip a coin. Faith or faith. Hate or love. Thyself, thy neighbor. I had my best run with today is a new day to start again by closing with do good, be good, be grateful. Have an awesome day. 2 in a row.